Morning guys, Martin Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. As many of you know, I live way out in the boonies in a small little urban area, suburban area called Feal in California. For any of you guys that are locals that follow me, and there are a lot of you that do, I have just come to the conclusion that I'm no longer going to give my business to corporate as far as Tractor Supply anymore. It's down there about 4 years in a row. I spend a lot of money, probably a good $500, maybe even more a week sometimes on dog food. Just bought a power washer and my horse mats. It cost me $1,100. I've got credit with Tractor Supply. And I'm always right on time with my bill. I spend a lot of money in that store, a lot of money. Right? So I got to thinking as I was going along, and I realized, you come up to the register and they say, "Oh, you got a $10 credit." So then I started comparing to the mom and pops and started looking at the mom and pop stores and thinking about it. And this has been a point of view that's been pushed a long time in a lot of different places over the years. I've seen it happen where corporations come into a small little area like this, and pretty soon the poor mom and pops down the road can't even operate because the corporations have enough clout to be able to put them out of business, right? With their pricing and all the things that corporate does. But really what it does is it tears apart the community, because now you have no community mom and pops. And the feed stores are a great example of that. I've got a feed store around the corner that I'm starting to do business with now, since I pulled my business away from the corporate Tractor Supply. And I invite you to go look and do a lookup. We got the internet. Just do a lookup. Tractor Supply, who owns it, right? You find out it's a corporation. You find out it's a lot of money behind them and a lot of different companies that are investing in Tractor Supply. And then you start to see the type of business they do. One of the things they do is they started hiring DEI, and I have nothing against that. I'm actually anti-Trumper, but up here in this area, there's nothing but Trumpers. And once they figure out that a corporation like that is doing nothing but hiring DEI, and that's their whole business model in that regards, a lot of people that may not be too happy about it, maybe they'll pull their business and go to the mom and pops, right? I posted a post the other day, kind of yakking the screen. I was posting where the new location I'm at, and I was talking about it. And nothing derogatory about the other location, but just trying to promote the mom and pops. So I posted it, and the platform, you know what they did? They put music behind it and didn't let any of my verbiage go out, right? And I don't know how to compete with that, because now we're being controlled by the platforms. When we first started the internet, we had a freedom of speech. And now it's to the point where these platformers are controlling everything based on the money, right? Because now the corporation has more clout and makes more money for the platform, and the poor guy with a small little voice no longer can get out. So it's not like the internet when it first started. When the internet first started, we had a voice. We could actually, get people to look at us and say some things, and now they just crimp it, right? Your voice doesn't go anywhere, right? And it sucks, but that's a fact of life, I've never been put in Facebook jail, but they've got me shadow banned. My message doesn't go out anywhere. And then I've got enough clout, I used to anywhere. I used to have thousands of people that followed me, right? Not anymore, because they just changed the feed. Pretty soon my algorithm goes down to a point where I don't have any feed at all, right? And it's because corporations and big money win, and that's even the platforms now. Look at Zuckerberg did on Facebook. Ran and kissed the ring right away, right? You think he cares about us on his platform? Not as much as he does corporate money, right? So in other words, birds of a feather flock together, and they don't care about you, right? And you get on TikTok, get on any of these platforms, and there's some kind of, and when they're new, they're a lot more liberal. They're a lot more willing to let your voice go out. But as time goes along, the corporations come in, and that's what's going on wrong with our company. It's our country overall. The corporations and money is what's created this whole problem. Dark money, as they call it, all that stuff. This is where it's all coming from. It's greed, right? It's all coming from greed and the corporations that own our country now, and birds of a feather, like I said, flock together. So what it is. But if you live up in this area, Victorville, Hesperia, Apple Valley, find a good mom and pop store. There's all kinds of these little feed stores running around. And go to the mom and pops. Give them your business. Tell people about it. And let them know that you appreciate that mom and pops. They're fighting very hard to keep their doors open when they're dealing with these corporations, So, and then we need to do that more and more with more type of things that will allow that to happen, because the corporations are taking over everything, and you no longer can even open a store anymore because you've got to compete with the corporations, you know. And all I can do is do my small part to voice my opinion and to spread the word, and then hopefully you guys will all do the same thing. If you guys all did a post like this talking about the same thing, and after a while that starts to catch on, and we all start to do our business with mom and pops, especially with us up here in Hesperia and Victorville, all these communities, Apple Valley, etc. You know, show some allegiance to the mom and pop. Let them survive and show that we appreciate them working hard to earn our business, right? I'll talk to you later. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, signing off. Have a good day.